Now, amid the ongoing Ukraine war, President Trump has yet again blamed Ukraine for the delay in the peace deal and continues to stay silent on Putin. As a result, Ukraine has revised its peace plan for US as pressure is already growing for Kiev to compromise with Moscow. CNN News 18's Sanjay Suri brings you a report.
Not a cheerful Christmas coming up for Ukraine, not by any means. The US is pushing Ukraine hard now to surrender land to get some sort of ceasefire in place. And all year, Akanksha, all of Europe has been hoping that Trump will eventually come around to their view on this war, at least to an extent. He hasn't. In fact, quite the opposite. And look what he said about Europe in just recent days, that it's decaying, its leaders are weak, they don't know what to do, and that many of these countries will not be viable countries anymore, and that they're getting it all wrong on Ukraine. So really blaming European leaders rather than Putin for the prolongation of this war. And Ukraine, he says, is not even a democracy anymore because elections that were due in May last year were not held in the face of emergency laws brought on by the war. But really, with one thing and another, Trump has been blaming Ukraine and Europe and not Putin. And it is this vision now that is underlining the peace plans coming from the US. And these are plans for Ukraine to give up land permanently that Russia occupies. And these are plans that Russia says it finds largely acceptable, unsurprisingly, but again, largely not entirely. And that would suggest that Russia wants more land before it can say it is prepared to stop for now, at any rate. In recent days, of course, we've seen European leaders meeting here in London. They then got onto a joint call with Trump, and remember, they in fact turned up in Washington at the White House earlier in this year to try and persuade Trump. With what results we've seen, it does appear that the more they plead with Trump, the stronger his contempt for them seems to become. And with Trump now so far from their side, it's not clear what European leaders can do for Ukraine. So maybe Trump has a point. They talk but do not produce, cannot produce.
Interestingly, it's not just Ukraine where there's no forward movement in terms of peace.